Smarterware, the airtight plastic containers that keep good food.
And this is Smarterware. A better way to keep tabs on your food, both in the fridge and on the go.
Alexa, tell Ovie this is quinoa salad.
Okay, I'll remind you in 3 days.
So you can always know what's left and find new ways to use it. With a smart tag you can put anywhere that changes colors to let you know how long food has been stored. And recipes that suggest meals based on the food you already have. So there will be less of this, and more of this, and this, and this. Introducing Smarterware by Ovie.
Who sees what I see? The air I breathe comes to me in my sleep. It moves my feet.
So this view is not terrible, I'll be honest.
Seriously.
I tried really hard. I called the building next door, the one with the pool. They weren't having us, and it wasn't about you, it was about me. So just so we're clear, I tried.
Your reputation precedes you.
It's not good. Let's start there. It's really not good. But it's all I've got, so let's not hurt it too much. Let's talk about Ovie, a startup company based in Chicago, beautiful Chicago, for those of you joining us on YouTube. And we're here to talk about smarter food storage. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Absolutely.
No,
Smarterware.
It's called Smarterware.
Smarterware, like
Yes.
Tupperware, but for the modern age.
So I'm Ty Thompson, and I'm the one of the co-founders of Ovie Smarterware. And if you have to put a hat on my head of a title, it's CEO.
Sweet.
I get to write a lot of the checks to people that we have to write checks to and find people that'll bring money in. That's a lot of what I do, with a background in mostly sales and business development. And previously at Contigo, if people are familiar with the
Those are the coffee cups that don't spill.
coffee mugs, water bottles, and that's where Dave and I met.
So, Dave, who are you?
My name is Dave Joseph, co-founder of Ovie, and my background is in industrial design, and my role here is head of product, I guess, is what we've landed on.
Cool.
So
All right. Stay.
Right.
I'll keep it at that.
All right. I'm Stacie Thompson. I am a co-founder of Ovie Smarterware. And as titles go, I am the head of brand and marketing. We kind of collectively, we kind of joke about titles here, and Ty started it, obviously, joking about titles, because as you can imagine, in any startup, you have to divide all of the work amongst the number of people that are there. So you can't just go by a single title. It's just, guidelines more than anything.
For sure. So you trade out hats from time to time.
Trade out hats. It's very collaborative. We switch things constantly. Yeah, it's a very fluid process.
And there's a fourth co-founder of our team too. We want to make sure to mention him. So Scott Wilson is fourth co-founder, and we kind of call him like the phantom co-founder because he really is behind the scenes advising us on what we do. He owns a product design company here in the city called Minimal.
Oh, very cool.
And was former global head of design for Nike, and just
Worked
a
at
big
IDEO,
deal, real big deal
he's
in the
really in
design
the
industry and
innovation.
really
Excellent.
connected. He
That's
drives
pretty
a lot
fun
of our
partnership.
connections.
All right, so tell me about this. So this is you guys showed me the product earlier, which is really cool, and we'll have some pictures included. But help me understand, like, why did you decide to build this product, or why did you decide to start a company that's building connected food storage?
So the origination of the product came from just a convergence of two things in my life. And people that know me know that I generally have kind of wild ideas and haven't really done anything with those things. And so in a parking garage one day, I saw a string of LED lights, not string, but like all the LED lights that kind of indicate where a parking spot could be.
Okay.
If you've seen those
Yeah,
before.
it's brilliant.
So if it's red, spot's taken, green, spot's available. So from across the garage, you can just quickly identify, hey, I can park there.
Yeah.
There you go. And so that was super easy, and I loved it a lot. And my brain said, where else could this apply? And we had recently gone through the old fridge clean out and had thrown away a lot of really good food that we intended to eat, but we stuck in our fridge. It got lost in the black hole that is the refrigerator. We never even thought about it again after putting it in there. And those two moments collided. And for me, I thought, could we use a simple LED light to identify, hey, there's food in this fridge that needs to be eaten, and this is how long it's been in there. And that was kind of the beginning of the product idea. Yeah. I kind of shrugged it off as just another silly idea, but speaking to Stacie and then ultimately speaking to Dave, they were like, no, this is a good idea. Maybe we should do something with this.
Okay. So you did something with it, and now you've started a company. So why do we need connected food storage? Because candidly, there's a lot of connected devices out there, and it's scary in terms of like the amount of connectedness out there. There's all kinds of security constraints, but there's also just people like experience challenges. Like, do I need everything connected? But food storage seems like one where I go, no, I get that. That makes sense. Like, but what problem is this thing solving? Like, how does somebody? How am I going to get my black hole of a fridge? Which, by the way, glad you said that. I felt like we were the only ones. But how is my life?
You're not alone.
It's called fridge guilt.
Oh, it is fridge
real.
guilt. It's a thing. Hashtag fridge guilt. Oh, I love that. So what's the experience like? Why am I going to be excited to have a product like this?
The whole heart of any tech that we believe is really helpful in integrating into people's lives, and one of our philosophies at Ovie is that it be really seamless and you kind of goes into the background of your life. So not all tech is doing that right now, admittedly, especially, IoT tech where you're like, do I need smart light bulbs? Nothing to say that you don't, but I mean, some of those things you question, right? With smart food storage, connected food storage, the heart of the interaction, if I walk you through a portion of the life, is you put your food in. Say you have leftover. I like to use spinach as an example because that is like the thing that always goes into a mushy mess in my produce drawer more than anything. Is I'll cook with it. I'll use it in a salad. I'll put a portion of it. I put a clip on it and I stick it in my drawer right now, and I literally forget about it every single time, and I'm disappointed. With Ovie, it's very, very simple that you're doing the exact same interaction, and if your voice enabled, voice connected, you push a button as you're putting it into your fridge and you say, Alexa, tell Ovie this is spinach. And then she tracks it. And that's literally the only thing that changes in your life in actually recording it or putting it down. And then you go about your day a few days later when you have inevitably forgotten about this and you're at work, you're wondering what you're going to have for dinner. You're wondering what's in your fridge. You open up your Ovie app. You get a notification, or you just open up, you see that it's there, and we're going to offer up suggestions and recipes and also be tracking the amount of time that that's still good for. We're using a database to track that, and we're going to be able to know, hey, it's been there for 3 days. I'm going to send you a notification. It's going to the light that's on it. Ty noted earlier a light indicator on the actual tag. It's called Smart Tag.
Okay.
That turns yellow, and I'm going to see in my digital fridge that it's yellow. So I've got things in the red stage, green stage, and yellow stage at all times in my fridge, and I'm going to be able to know what's in there. Then I get a recipe suggestion for that, cross-referenced with other things in my fridge, and I've got a meal ready to go recipe, and I can order extra ingredients on Instacart, and I'm home, and I've got all the things I need to make dinner.
Alexa, tell Ovie this is spinach.
Okay, I'll remind you in 5 days.
Alexa, tell Ovie this is carrots.
Okay, I'll remind you in 14 days.
Very cool. So that's interesting because you're retrofitting what is not a smart fridge, which is, by the way, all the rage. Everybody's talking about smart fridges, but you're basically retrofitting a traditionally very like asset intensive or capital intensive asset in a home for a homeowner with this smart technology. Because like, I don't know what else you'd want a smart fridge to do other than tell me what food's in there and how long is it going to go bad. That's pretty interesting. I like that. So one thing you talked about was that, and the goal here is to minimize food waste.
Right.
That seems like, to me, and especially in America, that's got to be just an epidemic problem that we are wasting copious amounts of food. It's
And to kind of touch on that a little bit more, we're using tech to solve a tech problem, but we're using a physical product also to solve a problem, because our company started as a physical product company. We said, let's make a housewares product that has this kind of little piece of tech, like a little LED light on it. And that's the path that we journeyed down. And then we woke up one day and we were like, oh, we're a tech company, because like we found that like integrating tech in the right way was going to be significantly more beneficial to our consumers. But you still need a physical product, because there are a lot of people trying to solve this problem. We're not the first people that woke up and said, man, throwing away all this food's terrible, and also not knowing what's in your fridge is terrible. But what we've envisioned as the right solution is a combination of a digital and a physical product, because in the kitchen, as you know, you're a big cook. You're in the kitchen a lot. It's a very physically engaging environment. You're touching your cooking devices. You're touching your pots, your pans, your knives, your fridge. You're opening that. You need to meet the consumer where they're at. So it needs to have a physical solution combined with a digital solution.
And I love that you talked about to your point, the fact that my hands are going to be dirty, or I'm juggling lots of things. You talked about voice interaction. That's a really interesting concept, because if I'm, like you said, I'm trying to get stuff done, I'm trying to get it the way, I don't really want to sit there. Like, the alternative to this right now is probably like get a marker out and write something down, or like not mark it at all and probably have a gooey mess in my vegetable drawer. Like, there's not a good alternative. That, to me, voice interaction seems interesting. So I'm curious, how did you guys end up going down the path of like integrating with Alexa? Because when your demo you showed me, that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So when we started, Ty mentioned like kind of the birthplace of the concept, and it was LEDs on food containers, and that was really where we started. And during the design process of understanding how people are going to use it and what the interaction model is going to look like, we walked ourselves down this road. And the way we work is, come upon a problem, find a solution for it, concept other solutions, find the best one, move forward. And that's kind of that process of, like, if you want to know that my spinach is good for this amount of time, we need to know that that's spinach. So you have to input data, right? So we started brainstorming ideas on how to input data, and we knew it had to be a simple solution. And we have some other ways of doing it that we think are better than typical. But the sort of the resulting path of that brought us to the idea of voice. Yeah. And part of the thing that brought us there was that the idea and seeing the applications built for Alexa and built for Google Home that are really becoming this applications for the interface of your home. So we talked about not using your hands while you're using your hands in the kitchen. That also means that your hands are busy doing other things and you're not in a place where you want to take your phone out. Maybe your hands are wet or they have pasta sauce on them or just you're busy doing things and your phone's over there and you want to be able to interact with these digital devices. So voice becomes an obvious thing and we can see the growth of of that.
So Ty, I got to ask, like, this thing doesn't feel like you just had this idea yesterday and then all of a sudden now you have that really cool looking product. Like, when did this literal light bulb go off in your head that it's like, hey, this is a pretty good idea? Like, when did that happen? And what's the first kind of couple steps that you had to take to start moving towards taking it from just purely an idea to, hey, we're going to like put some design around this. We're going to put a business around it. Like, give me some background on that time. Like, cause that feels like a really interesting, formative time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess the light bulb moment. Yeah. The light bulb moment of it being a good idea was really when I sat down and talked to Dave, cause I'd already talked to Stacie about it and said, hey, I had an idea. And,
that was probably in May of 2014.
Probably May of 2014. I said, I had this idea, kind of ridiculous. And I told her, and she goes, no, that's a really good idea. I was like, okay.
I said, I've heard a lot of your ideas, and this is the best one you've had. You need to do this. I need this thing in my life. Everyone needs this thing in my life.
So she said this was a good idea. She needed it. She wanted it. And I still wasn't even convinced because I bring a lot. I come up with a lot of stuff out of thin air. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to Dave. Dave and I were working together at Contigo, a really talented industrial designer, and we become friends. I knew his personality and I knew his we had a similar like moral compass and ideology about how we live life. And so I trusted his opinion. So I asked him if I could buy him a cup of coffee. And Dave, you should really tell this part of the story because it's much better from you.
I like hearing this from you.
Because I heard this version of the story well after we started a company, by the way.
So when you're a person that executes concepts and makes real things out of them, you get a lot of people coming to you with concepts that they think would be good, real things. And
that's the best way I've ever heard you say that. Good, real things.
Yeah. Like this great idea.
Right.
Listen.
100% of the time, those ideas are total trash.
It makes me so happy.
It's so good.
Someone's got an idea for, like, I don't want to say like specifics, but like it's always.
Don't make
some
ideas that Ty brought you before this one.
Exactly.
They're all involve some sort of magical thing, and I don't mean literal, but like some concept. Like the idea is like I want to invent a thing that doesn't exist yet, like some technology that's impossible or is 50 years out. Yeah, that's the whole concept hinges on this super complicated thing. Yeah. And I like things very simple. I like easy to understand things. I think that's how I think consumers react well to those ideas. And so when Ty brought the idea, the joke is that I've never said yes to anything, and I said yes to Ty's idea. But the real reason is that like
you wanted the free cup of coffee,
right? Next question.
Most expensive free cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's
Sorry,
awesome.
I kid.
But the basis of the idea was simple, and I found that it's way more complex than I thought. But the essence of it was simplicity, and the technology seemed doable from where I was sitting.
And you know what's been so fun? Obviously, I've been a part of this from the beginning, hearing both, and meeting Dave and becoming a part of it. In every single problem that we approach, we challenge each other. Like Dave and I are usually at other opposite sides of all problems, challenging each other to make it easier or to take something out of it, which is a very counterintuitive to a lot of tech. That's like, why don't we add this thing? Because we could have this thing on top of that thing, and wouldn't that be great? And we're like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Yeah. Do we have to have it? Is it going to make the user's life more simple? And that's where we all align on the same, like we all come to the same grounding point.
Yeah. This was in June of 2014 when I sat down with Dave. So that was, a good 4 years ago. Yeah. And Dave said, "Hey, I like the idea." And I said, "Cool, let's do this thing together, 50-50. I can't get it out of my brain. I don't have the talent to do that." And Dave was like, "Okay." So we started down the path of that. And the first thing we wanted to do was make sure it wasn't done before and that we just haven't seen it. Because a lot of my crazy ideas, I Google them and find out that I'm not the first to have them. So
a lot of ideas, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we went down the process. I connected with a patent attorney, and we went down the process of doing a patent search, and nothing was out there, not a thing at all. And so we filed a provisional patent and started to kind of develop this product. And then in November of 2015, we filed our full patent for our product. We've got about 20 claims around what we're building. And we still haven't heard back because the patent process is incredibly slow, as it turns out.
Okay.
But that's for a different podcast.
I saw the U.S. Patent Office just go over some crazy number, like the 100 millionth or 10 millionth.
Oh, yeah.
Patent.
Oh yeah, a huge one, and they like made a big plaque about it and all that. Yeah,
congratulations!
cool.
You-
Yeah.
Spend less
I wish
time.
it was you guys.
Spend less time
Right.
That would
building
be
plaques
amazing. It wasn't
and more time accepting
Yeah.
a patent.
Yeah.
Can you read some more patents?
So we had spent a lot of time protecting the idea because the industry that we come from, we understood the value of making sure we weren't infringing on someone else's business, but also making sure we protect ours before we invest a lot of resources in building it. So we went through that process and then spent probably a year in 2016 kind of part-timing, not doing a lot on it because there were some challenges with both of us having full-time jobs and families. And so finally we decided that if we're going to do this thing, it's time to do it. Yeah. And that's when in January of 2017, we jumped out of the airplane and said, we'll find the chute on the way down.
That's awesome.
And so far we haven't hit the ground, and occasionally we get the parachute, I think.
So one thing I think is interesting about, so you bring this idea from there to now you started a business in 2017. Stacie, you and David both talked about like this design paradigm being very much about the experience, and it's almost like y'all embodied like this minimum viable product mentality. Like, what's the minimum thing that we can do that has the most value but doesn't over-engineer it? So I'm curious to hear, like, from a design perspective, like what were kind of some of the primary objectives that you had? Because I know you said, hey, we try to pair these things out, but like, what were the top couple of things that you said, this is what it has to do and has to do well and differently than what's in the market?
So I think one of the things we always come back to is the experience, the use flow of being in your kitchen and putting food away in the fridge is a very common thing. Everyone understands how they do that, and it's sort of like ingrained in their mental process as a mental process. So we knew that we couldn't alter that very much.
Right.
So that was something we kept coming back to: is, are we getting in the way of a process that someone already has? And
It's like low friction, like
Right.
Right, like the
frictionless
friction
adoption.
points are such a big point in it because, when we first talked about it, and we hinted at this a bit earlier, right? And we talked about pushing the button and inputting something on your phone, right? Like, we didn't want to, have to pick up your phone, go into the app and do this. So, like, how do we make it easier? How are we going to make it
Right.
be a smart notification? And then it was a smart notification. How do we automatically suggest the number of days that it's good for? Are we, instead of making you do it, can we actually source it from somewhere else instead of having it all of the onus be on you? How
yeah.
can we add value
So
in
you don't
that?
have to like type in like spinach 3 days.
No, because we're going to be pulling from a database, big database, a big data beer database.
Hey, you were, we have the IoT beard too. It's cool. I think we registered that domain on GoDaddy.
Perfect. We'll be pulling from a database, but we were originally going to have it just populate into your smart notification, and where you can adjust it if you felt like it was different, because we want you to be in control as the user also. And that's where we kept poking at it and said, how can this be easier? This is still a step beyond what someone is doing right now. And if you want this to truly be helpful and integrate into their home, much like Nest does, like, you're already going to the thermostat to adjust it. You're still just doing that unless you've got support for it. We want to act like that. And so that's where voice came up for us.
That's awesome. So I got to ask, because I saw something on one of your social media feeds that you guys showed up. Y'all were at CES this year, right?
Woohoo!
What was it like, one, just to be at a show that big, knowing that you're like this startup out of Chicago doing your thing, but two, like, what were the people like? What were they interested in?
It was wild.
Yeah,
first of
crazy.
all. It was totally wild.
And it seemed like a show about the size of our booth. Like, it seemed like a tiny show.
Right.
Mostly because we never left.
We never, I mean, like, we went in thinking that we'd be able to like, okay, well, we'll man the booth for a little bit and then you can go over to this. I mean, we're like in Eureka Park, which is like a completely separate building from the main show.
Okay.
The main show is like 30-minute walk away if
Oh,
you're
wow.
doing that. Huge, where all the big names are.
Yeah.
And Eureka Park is huge also. But we thought, yeah, we'll be able to, trade out. This isn't going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
We didn't leave.
We didn't leave.
We
Dave-
barely ate. Like,
Dave,
I mean,
Dave and I left the booth for an hour and we got back and we were told never do that ever again. So
it was so insane.
well, thankfully we had some friends join us out there as well, like putting on some Ovie shirts and talking about Ovie. So we had a lot of help in that. And a lot of things went in our favor. We got an incredible location. We were in the smart home section. We were right on the main aisle.
That was really cool.
So thank you, Consumer Technology Association, for that placement.
There you go.
Was
Shout
amazing. Shout out. But from our perspective, what really went over well for us was we were bringing a unique product to the startup area and really to the entirety of CES. We're kind of inventing a category here, and no one else was doing it. But not only that, but we were speaking to it in a way that's very accessible to the people coming by. Like, it was simple. It's like, we make smart food storage, and people wanted to hear what that was all about. And we estimate that we spoke to probably 2,500, maybe 3,000 people over the entire course of it. We were
featured. I mean, we were actually made it onto the Today Show in their feature, like when they were
Really?
doing a
I was hoping this was
spotlight.
the biggest show you'd been on. Dang.
Oh, sorry. Well, they didn't talk about
They didn't
us,
talk to
but
us.
they put and Ovie Smarterware up on there,
That's
and we had
super
people
cool.
saying
Yeah, it was
to
like-
us. It was
it was like robots, Peloton, Ovie, and then Whirlpool, and we
we
were
were like,
how
we're
did
tiny.
how did that happen?
That's awesome now. That's very cool.
Yeah, because obviously robots are going to take the.
It was a
robots
rush,
are
and this is the morning of the first day of the show. So we'd set the booth up. We got back to the Airbnb. We're like waking up in the morning, and we see this thing on TV, and it's like, okay, this is how
pretty
it's going to
cool.
go.
This is
This
it.
is
awesome.
it. This is
Yeah, and so it was an incredible show for us. What I can say, and what might be interesting to your listeners, is like it's not as. So we were really focused on like putting a really great demo on.
Okay.
And we engaged with our partners that were building our demo, and we basically put a tight timeline on them to deliver the demo for us at CES. And what ended up happening, though, is one, if you're demoing anything with Bluetooth at CES, when you pull up your Bluetooth, find a connection,
holy.
Yeah. There are like
moly.
80,000 devices. showed up.
10,000
Ding, ding, ding.
devices.
1,000 devices.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So that's
That's awesome.
But our partners foresaw this being an issue, and
Okay.
we went about trying to
So did you like
gate it in.
start your Bluetooth device with an A?
yeah.
Because
Guess what doesn't work? All of it.
30
None of
days
it
in a
worked.
row.
Yeah. CES secrets.
So there's that challenge. And also, like, when you buy the booth, you can buy like the low speed internet version of your booth, or you can buy the high speed internet version of your booth.
You buy the high speed.
Yeah, we
You're at
bought the
CES.
high speed internet version of our booth. But when it came down to it, there's so much connected device like traffic that our demos struggled to really ever get off the ground. I don't think
Really?
we exhibited our demos
I
in
don't
the
think
way
we
they were
showed it
supposed
at
to
all.
one time.
There were
But-
also so many people there all the time that like we thought there'd be a lot more like one-on-one. Let me tell you and walk you through this.
Yeah, detail.
And you're surrounded, like literally there's 12 people at your booth at all times, and you're talking over each other and reaching for things. There was just not a chance.
Yeah, you're just talking through the thing over and over again, and people are coming and going, and you've got like 4 or 5 people.
You're like holding court
Yeah.
constantly.
And it's like people come and go, so like doing the demo became sort of it got in the way.
Yeah, then we
of
just
actually
then we were just
talking to
holding
them.
just tell
smart
you what
tags
it
as
is, yeah.
props, and we're like, so this is the thing.
And the truth is, like, what we're doing is so simple that like nobody was like, nah, I need to see your demo to believe
Yeah, this
what you're
can't make
doing.
sense.
This
Yeah.
isn't a thing.
They got it right away. It was like, no,
Robots VR.
you press the button, you say what you're tagging, and that's it. We do the rest, and then we walk through what the rest is, which is reminds you of your food before it goes bad, and we give you suggestions on how you can eat that food. And then we help you keep track of it if you need to look into your app and see what you have while you're grocery shopping.
So it feels like at CES though, like that's got to be like a super nerd. Like propellers are spinning, the tech geeks are out there. They had to walk up to you guys and go like, "Yo, what's up? Like, tell me about your product." And I'm guessing that, like, because of your design background and like your focus on skinning things down, that had to be maybe a nice juxtaposition between maybe what you were doing. Was there other people that were the other end of the spectrum? Like, was everybody super cool design and like really pretty products, or was it more tech for tech?
I mean, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but
we won't talk about your neighbors in particular.
They were very nice.
Oh, we met incredible people, by the way. So if anyone's listening to this and wants to like go to CES and exhibit at Eureka
It's pretty
Park,
awesome.
It's awesome. The people really help you understand what you need to do. So the Consumer Technology Association does, and you meet a lot of really great people. So don't be intimidated if you think that it's something you want to do. Just throw that out there. But yeah, we would. I walked I walked some direction to some of our neighbors and said, "Tell me about your product." And they said, "Well, we use this chip and we use this board and we use this kind of wireless communication. We do this." And I was like,
Yeah, but what is it?
But what?
They're
do
like,
you,
it's
but what do you
these
do?
things. And we keep going, get to the point, man. What are you selling? And that really, like, it's very difficult for me because I'm basically a brand storyteller. That's my career calling in life, and it's why I'm a good fit for this team. Is I care really passionately about getting the point across in a way, and the product across and all these experiences. And so so many of them have booths that are floor to ceiling in words and, like pictures and all of the, you've seen booths, you've seen trade show booths that are pop-up banners and all of these. And we benefit from the fact that I've designed umpteen booths for large scale companies.
So simple, clean.
I've done work across all kinds of large name brands, trade shows included, and simple and clean is what breaks through in the chaos. So ours was and I also had a trade show booth manufacturer that I know very well that could customize it for me really, really quickly in the midst of us changing our name. So it was
that's another podcast.
But
startup life.
Instead we said, all of these people are going to be that. I'm going to make it look like you're in a kitchen. And so literally we had a
cool.
MDF wall that it looked like tile, was routed out to look like tile, painted. Our logo backlit behind, little blade sign, white oak wood top counter, L shape, so it felt like a kitchen counter, stools that you could sit on. We were at a corner, which was awesome. And so you have super clean white. We've got a little TV. We've got our logo, and we've got a single pop-up banner with a single headline on it that says dinner's already in your fridge.
Oh,
that's it. And that, when you put it next to all of the other chaos,
had to be a different experience.
It just was a completely different experience.
But you had to make a lot of the nerds really sad. They're like, "This is so simple. Why didn't I think of this?"
No, it wasn't the nerds, man. You know
People
who it was?
were trying to hire us to design their booth.
We did. That's true. No, but that's
other startup.
That's a funny thing that you say that. There's a lot of large manufacturers who come to this show and heads of innovation coming to this show. So we spoke to a lot of heads of innovation from Electrolux and Samsung and Whirlpool and Tupperware and
every big brand
all of the large brands. And I can't tell you how many times we'd get, "Oh my gosh."
Really?
You just kind of got this
it's hard to do it on a podcast.
It's hard. This is so simple.
On a podcast, but there was a look, and I'm going to do the look, and it was. Do it right here. It was.
My boss is going to kill me for not thinking of this.
It goes back to what I said before, which is I think the simplicity of it is that you're retrofitting something that's already really expensive. And how often do people replace refrigerators in their house?
Exactly.
It's very minimal, right? You don't do that very often.
And think about this. Think about what your iPhone looked like 4 years ago.
It looked the same.
No, it was smaller.
Okay,
It's
6
small-
years ago.
6 years
Six
ago.
years
Okay,
ago.
smaller, not as
So small,
slower.
but when you see somebody that's got an iPhone
The 4.
5
When you've got the
or
iPhone
something
4,
like
you're
that, you're like,
Oh.
you're like,
Forget what it looks like. It slows down.
Right.
Apps don't
The
function
experience
the same
stinks.
way. The world's upgrading.
Forget what it looks like.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I agree. I like where your head's at, though.
Better.
You get it, but this is something that doesn't have that cycle because you can do, because the barrier to entry,
just
the cost of entry is
imagine
lower.
the feeling of a $4,000 fridge that feels like it's 4 years old. and
Ooh,
the
I don't like
updated
that.
software that's coming out for
And
it
the
is no
updates
longer
stop
working
happening.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what do I have to buy a whole new fridge? This is ridiculous.
Because the software update. I had a buddy that he complained for like 2 days about his mouse not getting supported by Logitech anymore. It was so sad.
Yeah.
So I like this
$12
concept. Yeah, exactly. So a $4,000 fridge, that blows my mind. So I'm curious. So you've gone through the process now. You have a product. You launched a successful Kickstarter program that raised money. Super cool. What does the next year for Ovie look like? What are the next things that y'all are working towards? And what's the launch? Like when are people buying this thing?
Yeah, so our goal is to ship product to customers in February of 2019.
Sweet. Okay.
And that's what we've promised in our Kickstarter campaign. Promised people understand that we can run into challenges along the way. But that's our goal. And so what we're doing over the next few months is we're wrapping up our production board.
Mm-hmm.
So the prototype that we have has about 85% there. We need to kind of finalize the chipsets that we're using, finalize the architecture of that board, and we need to obviously then finalize the mechanical engineering for that, and purchase tooling and get into pre-production. Okay. We're going to get into a beta testing program soon after that, sometime in the fall. Once we know that the product is working the way we want it to, and we're kind of through debug and all that, we should start our full production cycle late this year, late fall or early winter.
Very cool.
Of this year, and then we begin shipping product to customers, and that's our goal right now. That's everything that we're focused on, is doing that. We're going to begin selling once we're in full manufacturing mode. Mm-hmm. We're going to start selling on our own e-commerce site, Ovie.life.
Okay.
And then from there, we want to scale as quickly as possible, because what we really want to do, once we're sure we're delivering product of quality that consumers expect, and that it's also delivering the benefit that we promised to consumers.
Right.
Once we're doing that, we want to get this in the hands of as many customers as possible, as quickly as possible, because when you talk about reducing food waste, which we talk about a lot of times in like little f, little w food waste, like
personal food.
Me throwing away lasagna at my house that I wanted to eat.
Right.
And then capital F, capital W food waste, which is this global problem,
right,
which is this huge epidemic in America that a lot of people are finally starting to talk about and pay attention to. Right. And in the world. And in order to really start impacting this, we really need to be in as many homes as possible, as quickly as possible.
Very cool.
So we want to do that, but we want to make sure that our product is delivering on the promises before we get there. And that's our sole focus right now.
So we're going to have some pictures, but the product is pretty slick, because it's the Smart Tag, which is really nice looking. And then you've got, what are the other form factors that this thing takes in terms of what can people buy?
So we have with the Smart Tag, like you said, and then there's 3 accessories. Okay. The primary accessory is, we actually go back and forth on what you might call the primary, but right now,
that's why I looked at you like, what are you going
I
to
know,
say
right?
now, Dave? This is
this is in the design meeting.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This is great. Welcome
I just
to our
had this idea yesterday.
Sketch it for
you. The primary accessory is what we're calling right now the universal connector, which is like the worst name for anything ever.
We
called it Connect. Just Connect. It was Ovie Connect is what the name of it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it is a universal connector. So
it's called Connect.
It's called Connect.
I love seeing this. This is fun.
This is how
designers and brand folk working
when
together.
You have this, designers on designer.
I'm actually sitting in the best possible spot.
Yeah.
So
this is exactly where I want.
So universal connector?
So what this accessory does is it lets you put a Smart Tag on your existing containers. So if you have a whole set of Rubbermaid or Pyrex or Tupperware at home, you can retrofit that to be smart.
You can put it on a pizza box.
Okay.
You could also put it on a pizza box.
Yeah, brilliant.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Or a container of hummus or yogurt or salad dressing.
Dressings. Yeah, the things that you're going to forget about. Like that's what. Oh, sorry. Continue that.
Yeah. So the next thing is the bowl or the container, like your typical looking
food
lid,
storage container, right? Okay.
Container.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really nice Triton container with a Triton and silicone lid, and then that's custom built to hold a Smart Tag. So it's like the best situation if if you need new containers and you want to use Ovie.
Or you just want a beautifully designed container by Dave.
Yes.
Also,
It is very pretty.
It is really pretty.
And then the third accessory is a bag clip. So
Oh, cool.
you can
For her spinach.
for a
That's
spinach.
right.
Oh, there you go.
Or for anything that you could clip something to.
Yeah.
So you could clip it to a bunch of carrots or a thing of.
I did see that in your video. That's pretty. The orange really pops against
The
the
orange
background.
is
Hey,
nice.
we don't
that
think
video is
we don't
nice.
think people are going to be tagging a lot of carrots because those things last forever, but it's real pretty.
But again, because
However-
you think it lasts
Yeah.
forever, if
Yeah,
you
you
have
forget
it
about
tracking
it.
for
Good point.
21
Good
days
point.
and 2 weeks in, you're like, I have carrots?
Yeah.
Holy moly, I need to eat
I think
those.
that every
And-
time I have carrots on my
I-
I think every time.
When did the rabbit move in?
Exactly.
That's what my food eats.
Where's the meat?
Yeah. There we go.
So
Well,
those
that's
are,
awesome.
Those are the accessories that go with
And then you get the smart tags with it. Okay, cool. So can people still get in on buying this thing? Because I know the Kickstarter's over, but is there going to be a chance for people between? You said when you get into production, you're going to have a ordering site, but is there still like an early?
Yeah, we're
Access
doing
program?
pre-orders.
We've got a
right?
pre-order store.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a pre-order store, and it's you can get to it pretty easily. There's a couple ways, but if you just go to ovie.life and you click
Okay.
on pre-order, that'll take you to our pre-order
Sweet.
store.
We'll put some links in the show notes. That'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pre-order is we're still offering discounts as if you not quite the same as on Kickstarter, but we're still offering discounts on that.
Very cool. Well, guys, this has been super fun to talk about. I love hearing from a team of folks that came from a like normal real jobs and then started had this crazy idea that I like. It's fun that a light bulb moment literally happened, and you brought together a team of folks that had great experience. You built some partnerships in the marketplace or in the ecosystem to bring this thing to market, and I think it's cool. I think the implications are interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. Like you said with my iPhone, I want to see what happens 24, 36 months from now because my mind just starts going about the use cases for this thing. So
Oh, man. It's
thank
going to
you
be
so
so
much.
exciting.
It was so fun to have you guys on. Now, I do want to shift gears here. You all should definitely check out Strata Data Conference happening September 11th through 13th in New York City. At this conference, you'll learn how data is driving innovation and transforming businesses. You'll hear from top minds in technology and leading companies like Airbnb, Google, WeWork, and Uber. You'll also network with thousands at the largest gathering of technologists and business leaders working with data. Save 20% with our passcode, PCBeard, at checkout.
We've learned a lot from our guests about big data, but now it's time to get a bit personal. In a segment we like to call Rapid Fire. Pew, pew.
This is like a Rorschach test.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Like, yeah, it's kind of like a Rorschach
Find
test.
that answer.
It's a
In the
word
basement,
Rorschach.
James.
Yeah, I was going to say. So if we were putting money down, it's this guy who's going to have the biggest problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
His spirit animal is a raven.
Oh, that's very Poe of you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so in the theme of IoT, AI, that world, what year will Skynet go online? Dave,
2021.
2021. Ty,
2035.
2035. Stacie,
Never.
never. Oh, I like that. You are the exact opposite of Elon Musk. That's
Such an
perfect.
optimist.
All right. So if you could recommend a book for us to read or listen to on Audible, what would it be, Stacie?
Shoe Dog
Shoe Dog by
by Phil Knight.
Phil Knight. Okay, the book about
Nike.
Nike. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's the Nike founder. I read it very close to us starting this, and it's
Okay.
just fascinating to see the insights into a brand being like started from the beginning and
Yeah.
kind of paralleling. I mean, we're nothing like Nike, but like paralleling a startup and another startup, and seeing the insights. I just thought it was really
Super
just
fun.
really nice book to read. Yeah,
Cool.
just
You're not the
great-
first
great
one to give us that
looking.
recommendation. so that's
Really?
going on the
Oh no,
list.
I have to think of another one.
No, you're good. That's
Shoot.
perfect. We like it when people give multiple.
Okay.
Because it makes more weight. Ty, what's the book you'd read or you'd recommend we read?
All right, so unfortunately, I don't get to read as much as I would like these days, so I've got to go back into the past a little bit. But I read a book right when we started this business called The Power of Habit, and you may have heard this one mentioned on here before too. And it is incredible in terms of learning about how the brain functions. So if you're interested in how the brain functions and how we do what we do, and how sometimes you look up and go, wait, I did all that stuff, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
We're really habit driven in a lot of ways. And I think, and this applies to what we're doing, because eliminating food waste means kind of changing habits. So how do we make it really simple for people to change their habits?
Very cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Dave?
The Island by Aldous Huxley.
All right. Dude, that's deep, bro. I didn't see you going there, but all right. Cool. Ty, what genre of music are you currently rocking?
I generally listen to, I guess, what you would call Americana, and I kind of stay in that vein a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, what about you? What kind of music you rocking?
Well, this is gonna date me and maybe make me seem like a weirdo, but the Dave Matthews just released a new album, and I'm super into it.
All right. DMV fan. That's okay. You're the first one that said that, but it's totally cool. Stacie, what about you?
Right now I am listening to a playlist on Spotify called Oh and Chill, which is the 2000s.
All right.
Nice.
And chill. Hey, by the way,
I'm only like briefly into it, but it's actually quite nice. Like it's a good.
That is like like typically I'm listening to chill, like anything with a playlist
I don't
with
think-
a chill
beat.
next to
Chill.
it.
I got a nice beat.
I don't
but
think
it's-
that's what OO and chill means.
It's not Netflix
not
and chill. It is OO and chill.
Oh, and
And
chill.
like
Oh.
Netflix
It's
and chill.
zero. It's
Oh,
OO
you.
Just
here.
got off.
I don't think
This is a family
Good
program.
Lord, it's Spotify.
Is this 00 or OH08?
Yeah. Oh,
Zero,
oh.
zero. It's definitely apostrophe zero,
that's
zero,
awesome.
and chill.
This is not a family
Oh my
podcast, right?
God. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
it was until now.
Well,
So, Stacie, what piece of technology is currently making your life worse?
making my life worse.
Dave, what about you? What piece of technology is making your life worse?
Instagram.
Instagram? Okay.
Yeah.
Does that
So-
count as a piece of technology?
It is. It's software.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
cool. I'll let it go.
Piece.
It's
I'm
not
just trying to
hardware. I
understand.
didn't specify hardware.
So I
have one.
I'm a anti social media person.
Okay.
I've been off social media in total for years now. But when Ovie sort of launched their social media presence,
Yeah.
I took a step back in to sort of try to promote the brand and promote me as a designer.
Yeah.
And how quickly it just wraps its tentacles around you. And so,
Like I'm out. I was like, but
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay.
so like,
You went in.
like all of a sudden I find myself literally opening the app when I'm standing in line for 3 seconds. Like I have
Yeah,
3
you gotta be
seconds
looking at something.
of like, and I used to pride myself on the ability to just like sit and breathe and like be there for that moment.
Yeah.
But now I'm like pulling my phone out to check my Instagram feed, which means nothing to me. So it is what the
By the
question.
way, you're not alone, brother.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing.
yeah.
It's
so
real.
I feel like
And
that's
pictures are so good. Like it's so
Yeah.
visually pleasing
right.
to look
It's
at
not,
Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, what about you? What piece of technology is making your life worse?
My Nest
that
thermostat.
was gonna be mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, I have been in more houses lately that are annoyed by their nests.
Well,
That's
I
so
still
sad.
love it. Like, I mean, I'm not annoyed enough to get rid of it.
no,
Have you set
well,
rules? Because I think that's the problem. I
That's
don't
the
think people like
but it's
set enough parameters for it to operate in.
manual
want me
to
to
set
have to do
parameters.
that?
Why
Oh, I
can't?
know.
Why it's supposed to be a learning thermostat? It's not learning that I like it cold.
It
And
thinks-
it's been so hot in Chicago lately. Thank God it's beautiful today. But like, it's I constantly walk into our upstairs and it's 84 degrees, and I'm like, why is it so hot? And I look and like Nest is at like 84, and I'm like, why?
Why would anyone
Never.
ever
Why
allow
would you
that?
do
Never be
that?
at 84.
That's not okay. Just
I know
set
you
that
know I'm
standard.
here. You woke up when I walked by.
So now my AC's got to run for 4 hours to get it back down to 75.
See, and I don't feel like that's any more efficient. I feel like
course
it's
not.
less efficient to let it get that hot.
terribly.
All right, so Stacie, you said Nest too. That's
Mine was Nest too, but I'll tell you what I love about Nest is I really like being able to be like, Alexa, it's hot in here, and she's like, okay, let me change that.
that is nice.
That's
See,
pretty
voice
great.
interaction is pretty great.
True.
All right,
True.
Ty.
Okay.
What is your biggest personal money pit right now?
Am I
What
allowed-
money?
Did we tell you that we're a startup?
Am I allowed to say my company?
Yeah, you totally are. That's a completely allowable answer.
We all just
Dave,
start
50-50 partner.
But
What's
hold
your
on.
personal money pit
Hold
right
on,
now?
hold on. Let's be clear though. Like I feel like a money pit is something that you throw money at and it's like never going anywhere, right? It's just like you're throwing money. Like
That's
I feel
a fair differentiation.
I would say like.
But we've
Ovie-
never allowed that though for other people. I think you went on the right path. But I'll hear you out.
I feel like Ovie is something that we are investing in, not in the sense of a money pit that you're never going to see the return on.
Gotcha.
So I don't spend money on anything.
So you're going to make everybody who said, "What's your biggest personal money pit?" And they're like, "Oh, my kids." They're gonna, you just devalue their children significantly. I do love that though.
I apologize. I will retract that and say,
I'm kidding.
My company.
That's awesome, Dave. What about you?
Oh, what is my biggest money pit? Probably coffee. I'd say
Coffee?
coffee. Yeah, like coffee.
Small or medium coffees?
Small.
Small.
That look like mediums that look like small.
Oh, yeah.
So frustrating.
That was frustrating. I hate that for you.
Yeah.
Stacie, what about you? What's your money pit?
Lunch at Revival Food Hall.
So good.
I'm telling you what, it's in the building that I'm in all the time,
That's
and
not nice.
like all of the food is amazing, and it's all like you can't get out of there for less than $12, and I'm always in a hurry, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna eat this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Some
right.
food.
I like it. Stacie, are you going anywhere really interesting soon?
Back to the money pit thing.
Noted.
I have
Okay.
no trips in the,
There you
in
go.
the
No
future
trips
right
in
now
future.
except
Totally
for
fair.
CES
There
in
you go.
January. We'll
Oh,
be at
CES
CES
in January. Excellent.
Hey, let me. Can I jump in here?
You can go, Ty. Get it.
So I don't know if you call this interesting, but my hometown of Brady, Texas, does the World Championship Barbecue Goat Cook-Off every Labor Day weekend, and it's highly probable that we will be there for that
World Championship
Barbecue.
barbecue goat cook-off.
goat. It's not a goat rodeo.
Oh no,
It's a goat cook-off.
cook 'em and eat 'em.
The rodeo's before the cook-off.
There is a rodeo involved, though, right?
There is
I think there's a queen of the
no
championship or something.
So there's literally this is like the world's best goat cooks.
Yeah, and it's
Are
official
they
too because
goats
someone else.
that cook?
Yeah. That's amazing.
If you get a T-shirt, it's got a goat cooking a man.
So
on
it
it.
Yeah.
is.
So
Oh,
like
yeah.
win the t-shirt contest.
I
All right.
understand now.
So you're going to eat what's the best goat like dish you've ever had? I got to understand what this.
So there's two ways to make cabrito.
Cabrito?
Goat. There's two ways to make it.
Okay.
You either make it good or you make it really, really bad. 'Cause
Oh.
goat not done properly is terrible.
Oh, really? Okay.
So really, it's just you can make goat just like pulled pork or whatever, anything like that.
I
And
got
it's delicious and tasty. And
So Brady, Texas, interesting place. Dave, what
Brady,
about you?
I have no travel plans
Good for you.
any time in the future.
That's excellent.
Can I give you another one?
You can. Where are you going? Interesting.
We actually we have a group of friends that comes over on Tuesday nights.
Okay.
We call family dinner night.
Very cool.
Where there's 20-ish of our closest friends come over every week. And a couple of years ago, we started family dinner night trips.
Okay.
And we went to Finland
Oh, that's a
2
fun
years
one.
ago and met we had some friends that we met here in Chicago who were from Finland. They were heading up the U.S. office of their company, and then they moved back and they invited us all back. So 17 of us went there. So now we're planning next summer is going to be a trip to Canada
Okay.
with 20 of our closest friends,
Wow.
which is always a big undertaking. So we go for a couple of weeks and we kind of tour the country. And so we're in the midst of starting planning this fall. And so, yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
not
take you all
in the
of that time to
immediate
plan.
future, but you're trying to wrangle that many people.
Oh,
It's pretty great.
it sounds great and simultaneously nerve-wracking to be.
And Dave wasn't entirely honest because it's not going to be very long before he's in China talking to manufacturers about our product.
That's right.
I don't count that.
He doesn't even think that's exciting.
Interesting. What was the question?
Yeah, interesting. That's
trips coming
totally
up?
fair. No,
No, that will
approve
be
that.
actually really interesting.
Ooh, I forgot we could
I'm
go to
excited about
we've got Croatia on the agenda too.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's technically
This
unplanned
just
at
got
the moment.
interesting. It started out
I
really
just wasn't
uninteresting.
there. Did you call it "minteresting"? Because I think that's a pretty good one.
Did I? If
I
I did,
don't-
I meant
sound-
to because I just coined that phrase.
I like that was really good. Trademark.
All right. So last question, Ty. What show are you currently binging right now?
So I just binged Cobra Kai on YouTube. YouTube
Tell me
Premium.
about this. What is Cobra
That's
Kai?
also a little bit of a money pit too. I signed up for the free YouTube Premium. I need to cancel that so I can watch Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is now in present day.
Okay.
Karate Kid. Johnny Lawrence has reopened the Cobra Kai dojo, and Danielson is not too pleased with this whatsoever. And I'm kind of mocking a little bit in that, but like honestly, incredible show. Great acting, great characters, great story, and it's a YouTube original, and I'm super impressed and can't wait for season 2.
All right. Dave, what about you? What show are you binging on?
So there's a show on Netflix called I think it started on PBS, but it was picked up by Netflix. It's called Somebody Feed Phil.
Okay.
It's a food show, and it follows the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond,
Okay.
which his name is Phil Raymond. I don't know.
Somehow I don't think that's right.
It's not Raymond. I forget his last name, but he goes around to different countries and eats the food and meets people, and my wife loves to make fun of me for how much I love this show, but it's got a great jingle and it has the guy's hilarious and he's super awkward and dad-like, and it's one of those comfortable shows.
All right. Identify with dad. Like, Stacie, what show are you binging on?
I'm a couple of episodes behind.
Okay.
But Westworld.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
my god!
Please don't talk about it.
So good.
I know. I'm
Spoiler
pretty far
alert.
behind.
So
Won't talk about it. I just finished season 2, episode 3 yesterday. So it's pretty great.
It
All
is
right,
really
folks.
great.
So this was super fun. Ovie coming out next year. Super cool, smart connected food storage product. Where can we find you on social media to keep up with all the latest and greatest with what's going on with Ovie?
You can follow us at Fridge Smarter
Ooh, I like
because
that
we make
handle.
every fridge smarter.
That's cool.
Oh,
At Fridge Smarter on
Instagram
Okay.
and Twitter and Facebook.
All of them. All right.
All of them.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was super fun. It was so fun to be in Chicago with this brilliant view. Sorry for you listeners, you can't see it, but it's awesome. And the conversation I thought was super fun. I hope you guys have great success, and I can't wait to get my LV products next year.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Corey. We appreciate
Corey.
it. Thank you.
I want to remind all of you that we have an awesome data analytics conference coming up called the Disney Data and Analytics Conference. This conference is taking place August 28th and 29th in Orlando, Florida. Join the Big Data Beard team and get $400 off your pass using our promo code DataBeard-2018 at registration.